Hey, how are you doing today? We continue on the Dominion mandate. For those of you who think you're too young to lead, are you too young to lead? Going through the previous videos, would you say that you're too young to lead? Now let's look at something else today, and it has to do with your formation. Genesis told us that God made man in his own image. He formed man first and then breathed into man. And then he said, have dominion, rule over the earth. Now, this dominion we're talking about here is lead. So now man is formed in the womb. God doesn't have to make man over again. Man has to reproduce man. And this reproduction is seen in the womb. But do you know what? The language, the code for dominion is passed on from man to man because it was first given to the first man. I will say our first parent, Adam. Adam is to reproduce after the likeness of dominion. That language of dominion remains in man as we go on from generation to generation. It doesn't change because the programming was written by God. Yes, I know some of you call him the higher power. But we are reviewing a book. I call that book the Book of Life. And in that Book of Life, he's called God. When God created all things, he looked back and said, it is good. So when he made man good. He made everything good. So the language of dominion is a good thing written in man. When God formed man and created everything, he stepped back, looked at it. That means he looked at you and said, it is good. So you, boy, girl, man, woman, God stepped back after creating you, forming you in the womb, and said, you are good. That means the language of dominion had something good. It had a good purpose. There was a reason God said, lead. Everything he created, he called good. So dominion, to lead, is good. Now man was to replicate this good thing called dominion. And so God said, be fruitful. This fruitfulness was to bring out this good thing that God had put in you. God was not about to form another man from the dust of the earth again. He just put the power of dominion to reproduce that same dominion. Now you replicate what is in you. You replicate the language of dominion that has been put in you. When you look at the way man is, you would see man wants to lead in various aspects of life. The language continually speaks in everything that man does. If you look at the Wright brothers, do you know the Wright brothers? I want you to go and Google again the Wright brothers. They were the first persons to make the plane. I'm sure their purpose was this: let us ensure that we can get to our destination on time. I'm just thinking that might have been the purpose. And they continued to carry on with this good work until they led that purpose to its end. So dominion is something you see in every man. Let's talk about something that happened to man. The coding was hacked. How, you may ask me? Okay, let's go back to Genesis, the book of life again. In Genesis, it tells us that God made man in his image. Now, there was a point where man began to question if God actually made him or her in his own image. Because a question was thrown to man, and that question was, did God really say? And once man got that idea of becoming something else other than what God had said, other than what God had programmed, they took it up. When man began to take up that question, and what was that question? Are you really what God says you are? Do you sometimes ask yourself that question? Man accepted that they were not really what God said they were when they took up a response to that question, and that response was away from what God had said. Now, that ensured that the coding was hacked. And now, what was the result of the hacked coding? You had good and evil. Remember, God said what He created was good. But now, there was good and evil residing in the same place where He said all He created was good. So now the coding has been hacked. So what man was producing was less than the measure God had stated, which is, be like me. So now man had two things, good and evil. I would rather call it strength and weaknesses. So man walks in strength and at the same time walks in weaknesses. But the good thing about this is that the dominion mandate to rule, to lead, was never taken away from man. The question is, where does the dominion mandate now swing? Your strength or your weaknesses? Now you have strengths and weaknesses because man replicates man. But your dominion mandate remains the same. In order to link that dominion mandate to your personal code, there is a link in the description that will lead you to resources that will guide you on this journey. For more content like this, subscribe to our YouTube channel, like, share, and turn on your notification bell so you are aware when more content is uploaded on our page. Also follow us on Instagram. So hey, 13-year-old, 18, 25, remember to lead as you take steps towards leadership by insight, vision, and empowerment.